So for this problem, we're going to start with the given function. So let's say we're going to do 3 examples for this type of problem. Let's start with f of x equals 2x to the third minus x squared minus 32x plus 16. And they're going to give you a factor. And before we start this problem, I want to review from the last unit. On the last unit, give me 1 second. On the last unit, you had a problem that looked like this. Does everyone remember this problem? And one of the things you did is you had to write it in factored form. And what did factored form tell you? It told you the x-intercepts, right? Okay, so if this was factored form, it would tell you the x-intercept was 4 and -2. Okay, so what they're telling us is they're giving us one of the factors, and they want us to test to see if it works. So for this problem, if we know this answer is correct, then we can assume that the x-intercept is 4 and okay, so now what they want us to do is they say, hey, we don't know if this is a factor. Can you check for us? So here's how we check. What number goes in here that makes this a 0? A positive 4. So outside put a 4, then do an upside down division box. We're going to do synthetic division. Again, if you Google synthetic division, you're not going to see them put the x's in. I have just over the years found out that students do better by placing the x's with it. In case there is a missing term, then they don't miss it by, anyways, we'll learn that on Wednesday. They put a 0 in that position and it's not missed. Okay, so this is what I have. I want to test 4. That's what they're asking me to do, test this factor. Now, if it is a factor, what will I end up with?
0.
Okay, let's test. Bring down the 2. Again, that's the most common mistake. Students go, where do I start with synthetic division? Bring down the first, and then you're going to do mama. Multiply, add, multiply, add. So multiply to get 8, add to get 7. Multiply to get 28, add to get -4. Multiply to get -16, add to get 0. So is this a factor? Yes. How do you know? Because if this is a factor, and you have to explain on your test why you know it works. Because if this is a factor, that means x equals 4 is a solution. Remember, by the word solution, we mean x-intercept. If this is a factor, it means x equals 4 is the solution. So I tested x equals 4, and it works. Here's an alternative way, grab your calculators, to test this. If you're like on a test, you're like, I'm just not very confident with synthetic division. How does this work again? So I'm going to plug in a 4. And we're going to plug it in together. So grab the calculator, please. Follow my lead. Start by typing in 2. Parentheses, you're going to do 4 caret key 3 in parentheses. That means 4 to the third power. Subtract, parentheses, 4 squared. Minus 32 times 4 plus 16. We should also get the same answer of 0. We're just double checking. It's an alternative method for checking real solutions. So does it work?
Yes.
You don't have to do both, but you're welcome to do that. Okay, so I know that it is, once again, I know that this is a factor because I tested x equals 4, which would be the real solution. If this is a factor and it shows that it works, and I use 2 different methods. The second part of this problem says, hey, if this is a factor, then I want you to find all the other factors. So I'm going to take this portion and I'm going to write it as a trinomial. 2x squared plus 7x minus 4 equals 0. I don't want to solve it, I just want to factor it. So what multiplies to give you -8 and combines to give you 7? Multiplies to give you -8, combines to give you 7. That would be x plus 8 and x minus 1. And it was so unfortunate on the last test. I saw so many times that students did this and then they were rushing, and guess what the next step they forgot to do? Bottoms up. So in this case, since the leading coefficient is not a 1, we're going to put a 2 underneath, and I'm going to reduce x plus 4 and x minus 1 half. Now, if you choose to rewrite this as 2x minus 1 to make it like a proper factored form, totally fine. I just often leave it in this form so that I can easily identify the x-intercepts. So factored form would look like this if I list all of the factors. The first factor we tested and it worked was x minus 4. The additional two factors would be x plus 4 and x minus 1 half. Remember, you can also write it as 2x minus 1. The order you write the factors makes no difference. As long as you have one parenthesis with this, one parenthesis listed with the middle, and one parenthesis listed with the last one, you're fine. Step 1 is check to see if the factor works. If it does, you proceed, and then you write it in factored form. Thumbs up, thumbs down right now. Okay, the last step is going to be the easiest if you can get this far. The third part of this problem says now list all of the solutions. X equals 4, x equals negative 4, x equals positive 1 half. Done. Scale 1 to 5, how comfortable do you feel with that right now? Just curious. So the next one I want you to try with your partner. So the entire time I want to see you talking. I'm going to give you a slight head start, and then I'm going to start doing the problem. Only look up here if you and your partner disagree upon an answer. And let's change this to not be a y. Let's change this to be a g of x, please. G of x. So 3 things as a reminder. First, please check the factor x plus 2. I want to know, is x plus 2 a factor of this function? If it is, write this function in factored form. And then lastly, please list all of the solutions. So with your partner, I'm going to give you like a 30-second head start, and then I will start doing the problem. Ready? Begin. Well, it does make a difference, because if you were to, here's my question. Because you have a negative 1/3 here, right?
No.
It is negative 1. Okay, then it does make a difference, because yours looks like this, correct?
Yeah.
If you went ahead and you foiled this and then you multiplied by this, do you see how you'd have x cubed?
Yeah.
Would you have a 3x cubed? So Aurelie asked a wonderful question. Please listen up. What if you don't factor out the 3? You're not going to get the same answer. So I can give you credit for these, but this answer would be incorrect. Okay? Because if you don't have the 3 out front, and you go through and you distribute, and you combine this, and then you distribute to the last factor, you'll have x cubed, but it will not be the same as 3x cubed. Okay? I'm going to write down an additional problem for you to practice at home. So you have to factor out the 3 and then include it in your final answer. Okay, here's an additional problem for you to practice at home. H of x equals 2x cubed plus 1x squared minus 50x minus 25. Again, even if you feel like you understand this, if you want to practice for speed, this is a great problem. If you're having any difficulty, come see me in the mornings.